us up on the Rumble. Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened to date throughout the annals of recorded history, starting with, what do we have on November 10th? We have 474, Emperor Leo II died after a reign of 10 months to be succeeded by his father Zeno, who became the sole ruler of the Byzantine Empire. Can you imagine your son dying, and your son was the emperor, like, of an entire friggin' empire, and then, so now you gotta, like, deal with grieving the death of your son, which is, you know, it's hard enough to have a parent die, but to have a child die is inconceivable to me, you know, but then now you gotta, you know, take up the reins and lead a frickin' country. Wow. 911, Conrad I of Germany, Conrad the Younger, at the age of 30, was elected king of East Francia. Okay. 1202, during the Fourth Crusade, not fearing, why am I so bad at spelling? During the Fourth Crusade, despite letters from Pope Innocent III forbidding the action and threatening excommunication, Catholic crusaders began a siege of Zara, known today as Zadar, in Croatia. So, you know, they went ahead anyway, under warnings of excommunication if they did so. I would have opted out. 1293, Woden Wijaya was crowned as the first monarch of Majapahit, Kingdom of Java, taking the throne from Kertarajasa Jayawardhana. Alright. 1444, during the Battle of Varna, the crusading forces of King Vladislav III of Poland, also known as Ulazo I of Hungary, and Vladislav III of Varna, were defeated by the Turks under Sultan Murad II, Vladislav himself not surviving. And that was 1444. I'm trying to find where we were. Trying to keep the primary source in line with the script here. 1544, Flemish painter Jan Matisse banished from Antwerp for religious beliefs. Uh-oh, that's not good. 1599, the Abo bloodbath occurred, in which 14 noblemen whom opposed Duke Charles were decapitated in the old Grey Square of Turku, the Swedish for Abo, due to their involvement in the war against Sigismund. Well, that would do it. 1619, René Descartes had the dream that inspired his meditations on first philosophy. 1619, here it is. I knew it was a highlighted one here. So this guy. If anyone knows who René Descartes is, you know, this sounds like something decently significant. So, yeah. 1674, during the Third Anglo-Dutch War, as provided in the Treaty of Westminster, the Netherlands, now the Dutch, formally ceded New Netherland, today known as New York, England, and I believe that included New Amsterdam, which is known today as New York, New York, New York City, and New York State. That was a Netherlands, you know, Dutch settlement that got taken. 1687, Pope Innocent XI published Decree Coliseus Pastor. So let's see here. Let's 1687. Let's look this up here really quick. 1687. All right, Miguel de Molinos. Here we go. A papal encyclical. In order to free the world, prostrate in darkness and bound by numerous pagan errors from the power of the devil who held it in a wretched prisoner after the fall of our first parent, the heavenly shepherd, you know, yada, yada, yada. It's a holy memo. You know, if anybody wants to see this, actually, let's see here. This is Decree Coliseus Pastor. So, yeah. Anybody, here's a link in the underbar post live stream if anybody wants to go down a rabbit hole. 1697, English Parliament accepted army reduction. Okay, yeah, they want to reduce their army and all that stuff. Makes sense, you know. No active wars, I guess, at the time. 1697. How come I'm already in the 1800s here? Let's see. 1697 here. Where we go? We just got that one. Yeah. 1766, the last colonial governor of New Jersey, William Franklin, signed the charter of Queens College, later renamed Rutgers University. I believe I've heard about Rutgers. So, yeah. 1775, the Second Continental Congress formed the Continental Marines, the precursor to the United States Marine Corps. at 2 Tavern in Philadelphia by Samuel Nichols. So happy birthday will it become the USMC Hoorah Semper Fi. So yeah, no, I know a Marine, actually a former Marine, very retired. Like he fought in Vietnam. So yeah, I hope he's doing all right. 1793, the goddess of reason was proclaimed by the French Convention at the suggestion of Pierre Gaspard Chamonix. And that was a from one of the other sources that we use here for this show. As you can see by the exclamation point, every now and then you see an article with an exclamation point. That is from another source. But that bleeds into this one here, 1793 as well. Fête de la Raison in France, Catholic churches, including the Notre Dame Cathedral, were ceremoniously de-Christianized and transformed into temples of reason. So as of then, they were no longer actually Christian. They were no longer Catholic. They were no longer Protestant. Whatever the heck, they were a Christian specifically. I ask you viewers if this has been overturned, or have we been living our entire lives with these famous cathedrals no longer actually being places of Christian denomination specifically of worship, So that's a whole rabbit hole of research that I unfortunately do not have time to conduct on the show. So yeah, if anybody wants to let us know in the comment section, that'd be swell. Moving on up into 1801, Kentucky outlawed dueling. Alright. Yeah, I guess it was a big enough problem. People kept dueling each other. It's just like, hey, stop it. Stop shooting each other, you crazy kids. 1821, The Cry of Independence by Rufina Alfaro at La Villa de los Santos in Panama, setting into motion a revolt which led into Panama's independence from Spain and to it immediately becoming part of Colombia. Alright, so happy independence, to Panama? They weren't independent for long, though. I mean, didn't we take over them? Or at least we own the rights to the canal, but we gave that partially back. I think the land around the canal is now Panama's, but the water is still U.S. sovereign owned. I'm not sure, something like that. 1836, Louis Napoleon was banished to America. I can't think of a worse punishment. You have been banished. Where am I going to? America. No! Well, yeah, Napoleon III. He got, kicked out of his home country and sent here. As if Elba was not bad enough. Or North Korea, or whatever. 1847, the passenger ship Stephen Whitney was wrecked in thick fog off the southern coast of Ireland, killing 92 of the 110 on board. This disaster resulted in the construction of the Fastnet Rock Lighthouse in 1847, right here. So, let's see here. Fastnet Rock Lighthouse. Let's look this up. I want to see images. So, yeah, this lighthouse here was built because of this disaster. That's a cool looking lighthouse, actually. It's built into the side. Oh, man. I actually kind of want to visit it now. This looks really scenic. So, what else do we got here? 1857, the first American Chess Congress was won by Paul Morphy, defeating Louis Paulson 6-2 for a tournament record of 14 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss. That's not bad. That's actually really dang good. 1865, Major Henry Weirs, the superintendent of a prison camp in Andersonville, Georgia, was hanged, becoming one of only 3 American Civil War soldiers executed for war crimes. I did not know they got off so easily like that. But there is a movie about Andersonville. Actually, King and I were watching it yesterday. We got partially through it. I mean, between going and picking Dad up from the hospital and various other, things, we didn't really have much time on our end. And King, it was Saturday, so he went and hung out with the boys and played poker. They do that every week, and that's really cool. So we have yet to finish that movie, but it is a really good movie. I implore you to go and watch it after this show, of course. But yeah, no, we watched it because I was researching writing, and I saw this. I'm like, oh, hey, have you seen Andersonville? No? Okay, let's watch it. Anyway, moving on up to 1871, Henry Morton Stanley located missing explorer and missionary David Livingston in Ujiji near Lake Tanganyika in Central Africa, famously greeting him with the words, "Dr. Livingstone, I presume." Yeah, that was 1871, which is up here. I don't know why I can't, keep these two coincided. But reading and monitoring and all that stuff, doing all the background work while presenting a show is rather task demanding. But yeah, everybody's or most everybody has heard that term. Dr. Livingstone, I presume. So yeah, this is when it happened on this date in 1865, and 1871. Sorry, I'm an idiot. I had the wrong thing highlighted it down here. This show is going to make me cross-eyed in some weird way. 1883, Toronto Argonauts defeated Ottawa Football Club 97 for the first ORFU championship. All right, that's pretty cool. 1885, German engineer Gottlieb Daimler unveiled the world's first motorcycle, and that is what this is here on the right here on the above the USMC. It's a collage of a bunch of stuff that happened on this date. Some things we've talked about, some things we have yet to talk about, actually. But yeah, this is the world's first motorcycle right here. Really, really strange looking. So, moving on up to 1891, Granville T. Woods patented the electric railway. All right, so that'd be used for subways and all that stuff. The electric rail and all that stuff, third rail. 1892, first CRU championship game. Osgood Hall defeated Montreal 45-5. That's a drubbing right there. 1898, the Wilmington insurrection began, in which white supremacists staged a violent coup d'etat, threatening black leaders, becoming the only instance of a municipal government being overthrown in United States history. I don't know about that. What about the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone? There's still areas in the United States completely, totally, fully under gangs of BLM and various, Antifa stuff control. They have roadblocks, around their perimeters. They don't let emergency vehicles in. No police, no fire, no ambulance, no anything. Complete, just still, to this day, as you watch, there's things out there in the United States of America that are like that. So, I wonder why they don't recognize those as the same stuff as this. A little strange. 1908, first Gideon Bible put into a hotel room. Hence why we have a little Bible in the top right corner here. So, yeah, the whole Bible in the hotel room thing, this is when it started, on this date in 1908. 1910, the date of Thomas A. Davis's opening of the San Diego Army and Navy Academy, though the official founding date is November 23rd, 1910. All right, so same year, but in about 13 days from now. 1911, Andrew Carnegie formed the Carnegie Corporation for scholarly and charitable works. All right. 1911 as well, Chinese Imperial Army recaptured Nanking, and it was a bloodbath. Yeah. Is this, was Japan already attacking China at this point? Because I'm pretty sure the Nanking massacre. You know what? Let me look this up. I thought it was during World War II or before it. Nanking Massacre, 1937. I just saw it there for a second there. Yeah, it's December 13th, 1937. So Nanking, this would not be the last time it would be a bloodbath. Not good. Moving on up to 1913, Arthur Nikisch led the Berlin Philharmonic in one of the earliest recordings of a complete symphony, specifically recording Ludwig von Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. All right. So one of the first recordings of a complete symphony. That's really cool. I wonder if it's on YouTube, actually. Let me just look this up on YouTube really quick to see if it's available. So, let's see. Beethoven Symphony, BPO 1913. Berlin Philharmonic. Yeah, that sounds like it. So, alright. It's only a half hour long. Yeah, I can listen to that. So let me put this back here so I won't forget. Moving on up. Let me get rid of that. What did I... whatever. Moving on up here. 1917, 41 suffragists were arrested in front of the White House. Yeah, suffragists' right to female votes and all that stuff. Now, this is true oppression, you third wave crybabies. The fact that you're allowed to get on YouTube and TikTok and moan and cry and whine about, oh, my rights are being violated. If your rights were really being violated, you would not be allowed to get on social media to cry about it. So, shut the hell up. You know, count your blessings. You know, you want to experience real oppression, this is it. Just for saying something, then you get arrested. You're not getting arrested for saying something now, are you? Shut up. 1917, new Bolshevik government under Lenin suspended freedom of press temporarily, during the October Revolution. Yeah, you want to talk about real oppression? Suspending freedom of the press. I mean, what do you guys need to figure out you have more freedoms than what you believe? 1918, German Emperor Wilhelm II fled to the Netherlands. Alright, yeah, like this is after World War I, and he was not looked upon favorably by his own country that he led, you know, but he was kind of a nut job, you know. And actually a really good video, go check out History Bombs, History of World War I, and they have videos of all other sorts of things there, so they're a good channel to check out after this video, of course. 1918 as well, Western Union Cable Office in North Sydney, Nova Scotia, received a top-secret coded message from Europe stating on November 11th, 1918, all fighting would cease on land, sea, and in the air. This message would be forwarded to Ottawa and to Washington, D.C. And as we know, tomorrow, the 11th hour of the 11th dates of the 11th month, you know, it's when the guns fell silent, the end of World War I. Too bad there was only there was more than one, you know, like World War II is just a continuation of World War I, and I would argue that we are actually actively in World War III right now, but that's a whole conversation we might talk about in talk show later today if we have that. Moving on up to 1919, first observance of National Book Week. All right, yeah, so crack open a book, read. 1919 as well, the American Legion's first national convention in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And what is the American Legion? Let me look that up here really quick. American Legion. First American Legion National Convention. Okay. The American Legion is still around, legion.org. So, looks like they're still around. I mean, this is an official website. So, alright. 1 century ago, 1924, Diane O'Brien, whatever, leader of the Northside Gang, was assassinated in his flower shop by a member of Johnny Torrio's gang, sparking the bloody gang war of the 1920s in Chicago. Yikes. So, that's a little Illinois there. Gang wars, people dying. 1926, Vincent Macy became the first Canadian minister to the USA. Alright. Pretty interesting. 2 years later, 1928, Emperor Hirohito of Japan's possession of the imperial regalia was publicly confirmed. I don't really know that much, if anything, about Japanese culture, so, like, I presume this is, like, you know, the crown jewels or something. Like, you know, he has the regalia, therefore he is now the emperor. You know, like, correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm right, or maybe I'm slightly right. Like, I'd like to know. So if anybody knows, you know, tell us in the comments section. 1933, black blizzard, snowstorm, dust storm raged from SD to Atlantic. South Dakota? What is SD? Like, Dust Bowl. Yeah, but from where? I guess I'm gonna guess South Dakota, so that's gonna require a little bit of research, but I'm gonna take a wild guess and say South Dakota. 1934, the first NHL penalty shot was awarded. Click, there we go. To the Montreal Canadiens forward Armand Mondeau, stopped by Toronto goaltender George Hainsworth in Maple Leafs 2-1 win. So the first penalty shot, you know, on record. All right, you know. 1937, Brazilian President Getulio Vargas proclaimed Estado Novo, dictatorship, in a radio address to the nation. That is horrifying. Can you imagine just like sitting there listening to the radio? We are now dictatorship! Ah, crap. Okay. 1938, an 8.3 earthquake shook East Shamington Islands in Alaska. And they get some big ones up there. Thankfully, they're not that populated. Otherwise, the death toll would be much more higher. 1938 as well, the second day of Kristallnacht's pogrom against the Jews in Germany and Austria after the assassination of a German diplomat in Paris. Yeah, that would do it. And it is just slightly a year, or slightly less than a year, until the outbreak of World War I, or what we recognize as such. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Golden Loon here.
Yeah.
What year was that?
38.
That wasn't World War I.
2.
2. Oh, you said...
Just before 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, 1940, Pittsburgh Steelers and Philadelphia Eagles played one of only 4 penalty-free games in NFL history. Steelers winning 7-3 at Forbes Field in Pittsburgh. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. No flags?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know that there would have been one.
Yeah, well, apparently there's been 4. So yeah. 1940 as well. Walt Disney began serving as an informer for the Los Angeles office of the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
What?
Yeah, he was an informant, McCarthyism against communists. His job was to report back information on Hollywood subversives. So, but communists were, as they explained a bit in Reagan, they were legitimately, trying to, subvert.
Oh, absolutely were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would argue, McCarthyism might have been a bit extreme, but we have to fight, Yeah,
you can't swoop everybody into something because you've got to look for where's the rotten apple type thing.
Yeah. But would you risk biting into a rotten apple if you knew it was in the pile of apples that you're just going to grab an apple from and immediately bite without looking? Or do you...
Well, I wouldn't throw the whole group away because there's one bad one in there. I wouldn't take the bucket and dump it.
Yeah, but what if you don't have the time to sort? Or what if you don't have the financial resources to sort?
Well, that's why you investigate into it. Now, I don't have a problem with him doing that. I'm just saying where McCarthyism went to was bad.
Yeah.
It went too far.
Yeah, it was extreme.
Yeah.
But we need some of that back for today, just to balance things out. Not to its fullest point, but we got to do something. Pardon me. 1940 as well. The 1940 Valencia earthquake struck Romania, killing an estimated 1,000 people with approximately 4,000 injuries. So that's an earthquake there. We just talked about an 8.3 up in Alaska.
Ooh.
So.
Yeah, that's huge. 8.3.
Yeah.
They get some big ones.
Oh yeah.
I forget the year, but so it had to be somewhere early 60s, maybe 50s.
The highest magnitude ever recorded, I believe, was up in Alaska, but because of the scarcity of the population, there wasn't any deaths.
Yeah, but this one was right around Anchorage, so.
Yeah.
It was. I can't remember the numbers or anything, but it was big.
Yeah. 1942, during World War II, Germany invaded Vichy France following French Admiral Francois Darlan's agreement to an armistice with the Allies in North Africa. So Vichy France, as we know, was a puppet government of Nazi Germany, and probably to save their own skin, so they didn't want to get hit. They signed the armistice with the Allies after we were, we're done in Africa. Now they know we're coming.
Yeah.
But then, their overlords immediately just started eating them.
Yeah.
So it's just, maybe you shouldn't have, maybe you should have fought Germany when you had the chance. Freaking cowards.
I don't think they could have stood up to Germany.
Well, see, the thing is that, and I might be slightly incorrect with my history here, but the guy that they put as the head of Vichy France, he was like a very up there general, and all stuff in the entire France army.
Okay.
Because he was a French, officer that they appointed.
Okay.
But there was a time when Germany was invading Poland. That's where all of their focus was.
Yeah.
And there was a point in time where France had like an opening of a few days to a week or so to invade Germany and stop the war before it even started. And he was in charge of that decision, and he decided not to go for it. So I would argue, his cowardice is the reason why World War II even happened.
Oh, that's an overstatement.
Well, he had the option, and I think he even had orders. I'm not sure, as I said, I may be slightly
But there's
wrong.
hundreds.
But he was in charge of that whole thing.
Yeah.
You know.
But there's hundreds of moments that could have changed.
Yes.
You don't know how. because you change it here and it turns here and over there.
I just find it funny that he had that option, and not only did he not do that, but then he became, the freaking puppet. He's a freaking turncoat.
I won't argue.
That guy is a piece of shit. Anyway, 1944, the ammunition ship USS Mount Hood, designated AE-11, exploded at Stanley Harbor, Manaus, Admiralty Islands, resulting in at least 432 deaths and 371 injuries. Jeez, man. An ammunition ship, though, I mean, that's a lot of things to go boom. Yeah, and you okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. 1944, German riots in Rotterdam, Schillingham. 52,000 men were sent to Germany. Okay, I see what you're doing. 1945, college football's #1 Army defeated #2 Notre Dame 48-0. Ooh, they got their ass handed to them there.
Who beat who?
The Army beat Navy, I think. Whoever Notre Dame is.
Oh yeah. Oh, Notre Dame is a famous university.
Yeah. Well, apparently they're a military, or are they not?
No, it's a Catholic church.
Okay.
School.
Okay. So the Army defeats Notre Dame.
And I even think in 1945, probably Notre Dame was still a football powerhouse, I would guess. Army's limited.
Yeah. 45 as well. Heavy battle in Surabaya between Indonesian nationalists and returning colonists after World War II, celebrated as Heroes Day. Hari Pahlawan. All right. 46. Communists won many seats at French parliamentary election. Uh-oh. 46. A magnitude 6.9 earthquake and the Peruvian Andes Mountains killed at least 1,400 people.
Just to back up for a second to tie into the conversation we were having a bit earlier, you can see where McCarthy in 1950 with the communists winning there.
Yeah. Well, this is French.
Yeah, I understand that. But you can see it happening there. We don't want it to happen over here. And it was a number of years later before McCarthyism took hold, maybe 10 years later.
Well, I mean, we can always do... Should I push the communist button?
Don't do it. It's a domino effect.
It's the communist button.
Oh, no.
It's the communist button.
Yeah, there you go. It's the communist button.
Yeah.
Boy, that was big in the Vietnam War.
Oh, yeah.
That was it. I was so glad they had that display in the Nixon Library.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
Yeah.
Because that was the belief.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, it's kind of true,
Yeah.
I mean, and I know we're kind of straying, but with all this AI, and robotics and all that stuff advancing, and humans becoming more and more, societally obsolete as far as being cogs in the machine that keeps us going as a freaking entity, eventually... worldwide we're gonna have to become communists because there's no way that we can earn without jobs, or what can we do when everything's done and catered to by AI or robotics?
That's one of the big worries with this. What's humanity gonna do? You have to have something there. You can't couch potato your whole life. You'll go nuts.
At the end of the day, communism will win, not because it's better, but because it has no morals, and it will do whatever it takes to victory. That's it's an unfortunate fact. It's sad.
Yeah.
1950, Nobel Prize for Literature awarded to William Faulkner for his powerful and artistically unique contribution to the modern American novel. Okay, what a way to compliment him. 1951, with the rollout of the North American numbering plan, direct dial coast-to-coast telephone service began in the United States, becoming the first long-distance telephone call without operator assistance. So,
hey, I remember back in the day when I was a kid, my mother calling her mother up in Canada. She called the operator, placed the call. We'll call you back when we're ready. 20 minutes, half hour later, get a call back. You're now connected.
And how did we know that it was for them? Because remember, they were on a party line.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well,
so explain that.
Well, up there, because they were fairly rural, they had 9 people on their party line.
Yeah. And
there was a 1 through 9 ring, so you'd wait and count the rings. If it stopped at 6 and you're 6, pick it up.
Yeah, can you imagine? Not only no cell phones or stuff, but you have one phone in your house and you share a line, and if you're number 3, you wait for 3, and if you hear 4, then it's not you.
Yeah. Keeps going up until whoever it is.
And then you pick it up. Hello, Mrs. Johnson. Your call to Cincinnati has gone through.
Well, no, that's for local calls. So you pick it up and you got who it is.
Well, no, this is this is the first direct dive
That
coast
is,
to
yes,
coast.
yes.
This is when what I just said
Yeah.
was no longer a thing anymore.
Right.
You know, that's crazy. You know,
Yeah.
like, dude, if you tell kids these days what life was like just 50 years ago, just 30 years ago, it will blow their minds.
Well,
you know,
in LA, big metropolitan area. And I don't know how old I was when we finally got a private line, but if you had a private line, you were some kind of rich person.
I tell you what, when I first heard, like I saw a video of some guy, there's video series about, show kids old technology. Can kids learn how to turn on a Game Boy?
Okay.
You know, like they gave them a floppy disk. They're like, oh cool, they 3D printed the save icon. My Christ! Like,
What else we got?
1952, Churi gave Lee resigned as first Secretary General of the United Nations. That seems like an omen. He was the first Secretary General, and he resigned.
Yeah.
So that kind of tells me he was like, I can't do this evil shit.
You don't know. It could have been health. Could have been anything. Come on. You don't know.
Well, the UN is an evil entity that needs to go. You know. 1953, Giants ended their tour of Japan. Players only got $331 of the $3,000 they were promised.
Oh, that's not
boy.
good.
Oh boy.
That's not good.
I wonder what that ended up to be. Like if they got the money, finally,
Yeah.
or what? You can keep that up there.
That's a little cold.
Okay, then turn it off.
No, I want to still move it. Still keep
Okay.
the air moving.
Well, you can just turn it on spin.
It's good.
Okay. 54, Marine Corps War Memorial. We've seen this in person. It's a weird story. Unveiled and dedicated by U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower in Arlington Ridge Park, Arlington County, Virginia. Dedicated to the U.S. Marine Corps who died in defense of the U.S. since 1775. Inspired by the 1945 Iwo Jima photo of servicemen raising the U.S. flag.
Yeah, there's something to see that. I don't know why. It's really moving.
But
If
let
you're
me bigger
in
this
Washington,
here.
D.C., go see it.
Yes. Well, that's going to coincide with my story here. But right here you can see Ike, and over here we have Tricky Dick Nixon. Oh,
There he is.
foreshadowing.
Well, he was the vice president.
Oh, he was?
Oh, yeah, to
I
Eisenhower.
I did not know
He's
that.
Eisenhower's vice president. That's why he ran against Kennedy, because he was the vice president.
Okay.
And, of course, he lost.
Okay. I don't know the exact way it slots in. I just know history in its own compartment. I don't have it in a linear
Well, I lived it.
sense.
See, that's why
yeah,
I know
exactly. Now, to my story, we have seen that monument, but we did not see it in Arlington because like back in 2004.
That's right.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
we went to Washington D.C. first.
Yeah.
We explored the sites and all that stuff, and then we went to Arlington, and we ended up not going to where they had that statue. I was really bummed out. I really above all else, that's the one thing I wanted to see there, and I didn't get to see it. Then we went up to New York and all that stuff. We just so happened to decide to go to that museum on that aircraft carrier or something.
Yes.
And they had it over there on loan.
On loan.
So
Yes,
I got to
yes,
see it
yes,
anyway.
yes,
Oh
yes.
my goodness.
I forgot that's where we saw it.
Yeah. So fate had I was going to see that.
Yeah.
And I did.
I was ready to put you on a plane and go see it today. Get a ticket. Get out there. You got to see that.
Yeah, no, it is fantastic. And what's really
Just because of what it represents, that's all.
What's really sombering
So many Marines and soldiers died.
What's really sombering about that statue and the photo that it took inspiration from is not all of them, but because that's what 5 soldiers. There's 5, 6, some odd soldiers there, 7 or something.
Yeah, whatever.
All but 1 or 2 of them died before the end of that battle.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or a couple of them died later or something.
Yeah.
But only
Even if one died,
I don't.
still.
Well, I don't think even one of them made it to the end of the war.
Oh,
So that's really sombering.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, 1960, uncensored version of D.H. Lawrence's Lady Shatterley's Lover finally went on sale in the UK after a jury found publisher Penguin Books not guilty in an obscenity trial. Remember we were talking about that the other day, and I played that Family Guy clip?
Yeah.
If you want to be in black and white's got to be in you. Yikes, Family Guy.
Yeah.
1963, Detroit right wing Gordie Howe surpassed Maurice Richard as leading NHL all-time goal scorer with 545th career goal in a 3-0 Red Wings victory over Montreal Canadiens in Detroit. Gordie Howe, one of the bigger guys, one of the big guys.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
If I know his name, he's been a big hockey
If
guy.
I know anybody's name,
Yeah.
it's like, because I don't give a shit about anybody, especially actors or celebrities or athletes or whatever. So if your name's in my brain, it's for either a very good or a very bad reason.
Yeah.
LeBron James is the latter.
Not a great basketball player.
He's an asshole. 1964, Braves signed a 25-year lease to play in the new Atlanta Stadium. All right,
Okay.
that's a quarter of a century. That's pretty good,
Yeah.
1965, Manic Peace statue stolen in Brussels. What? Manic Peace statue. I gotta look it up. It's a weird.
You mean it's kind of crazy?
Manicky or peace, like.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's not manic, but
Okay.
oh, what the hell, dude? Okay, that's weird. Hold on a second. Open image, in new tab. Look at that. They cut him off at the shins.
Oh man.
So we have a freaking
Why?
Cotton Hill statue out there.
Why?
Because people are vandals. Like, what the hell?
Okay,
That's weird.
move on.
1968, Portuguese socialist Mario Soares released from banishment in Sao Tome under new regime of Marcelo Caetano.
Okay.
So now we were talking about earlier, Napoleon III. I forgot his first name, but the second descendant, of Napoleon Bonaparte.
Yeah.
He was banished to America.
Really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Like, I found it funny. Are we really so repulsive of a nation that we're a banishment destination?
Yeah.
Well, we are
Well, it's
today.
like they used to send all the prisoners down to
Australia.
Australia, yeah.
Yeah, well, now they're a penal colony again.
Yeah.
So we were talking about that earlier. 1969, educational television, or national education 1969, National Educational Television, known today as the Public Broadcasting Service, aka PBS, in the United States debuted Sesame Street.
Wow.
And you can't see it that well, but look at, Big Bird originally, how bad it looks. Weird head, very small.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't know what he looks like. What does he look like today? Give us a comparison.
Well, let's see here.
Because I'm not that familiar with Sesame
Big
Street.
Bird.
Because
Then
I was already
versus
an
now.
adult.
Here we go. Here's a then versus now. See if it shows me bigger. Oh, here we go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, look at the major difference.
Is that the original photo?
Yeah,
that you
on the
just
left.
looked at?
That's the original.
I mean, that's not the one we saw, but
yeah.
similar.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
looks like the
They
same
really
pose.
upgraded him, softened him up, and made it much more kid-friendly.
he also looks freaking stoned out of his gourd. Look at those eyes, man. He's like, yo, you want to go learn, man? Hey, I'm Big Bird, bro. Blah. I don't know. Anyway, 1970, for the first time in 5 years, an entire week ended with no reports of U.S. combat fatalities in Southeast Asia. All right. Vietnam.
So that was Vietnam,
Yep.
yeah.
1972, Southern Airways Flight 49 from Birmingham, Alabama was hijacked and at one point was threatened with crashing into the nuclear installation at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory. After 2 days, the plane landed in Havana, Cuba, where the hijackers were jailed by Fidel Castro.
I remember that.
Wow.
I remember that.
They threatened to crash a plane into a nuclear facility? What the hell?
I didn't know that, but I remember the hijack.
Woo! That's some crazy stuff right there. Yeah, the 70s and early 80s, that was the age of hijacking.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, really took off.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
That joke landed. It has some lift. 1975, MLB Kansas City Royals released slugger Harmon Killebrew, ending his 22-year career.
Oh. Harmon Killebrew, yeah.
Yeah. 1975 as well, PLO leader Yasser Arafat addressed the UN in New York City. And that's really, that's interesting because of this next article. And, you and I, we disagree adamantly, on this topic.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to broaden your horizons with stuff, with things that they don't tell you, with what you've been told on TV and stuff. 1975, UN General Assembly approved Resolution 3379, equating Zionism with racism, by vote of which 72 are in favor, 35 against, and 32 abstentions.
Absenteeism.
Abstentions.
I think.
I can't pronounce it. This was revoked, unfortunately, by a resolution later in December of 1991. Now, the Rothschilds and all that stuff, they're Zionists. Well, remember the Balfour Declaration? They were talking about making a Jewish state in Palestine as far back as 1917.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the Holocaust, the creation of Israel. So, and it was all, by Zionists, and, Zionism.
Just abstentions. I finally looked at the word.
Abstentions. Okay, thank
They
you.
didn't vote. They held that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I wasn't looking at it.
I was trying to enunciate, and it's unenunciable.
I don't have glasses, so I can't read most things. So I said, okay, let me see what that actual word is.
But see, the United Nations was good for a time. We got to.
Oh.
We got to understand what Zionism really is.
I was a big UN guy at one time.
Well, 1977, Major Indoor Soccer League officially organized in New York City. Okay.
I think that bombed.
Yeah. 1978, Israel's top negotiators broke away from Middle East peace talks. It almost seems that they don't want peace. 79, 106-car Canadian Pacific freight train carrying explosive and poisonous chemicals from Windsor, Ontario, Canada, derailed in Mississauga, Ontario, causing over 200,000 people to evacuate. Chemical and explosive, cargo, yeah. 1980, anchorman Dan Rather alleged a cabbie tried to kidnap him, which is why he refused to pay his fare in a dispute with a cab driver.
What?
Yeah, that sounds like bullshit.
Weird.
That sounds
That's
bullshit.
Weird.
Dan Rather just didn't want to pay.
Well, he got pissed off about something, no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, did he put a gun to your head? How does he kidnap you?
I don't know. But we've just been joined by...
Who is Alice?
Who is
Alice?
Alice?
Hey guys, I'm gonna be muted.
All right.
But I just want to listen in and hear what happened today in history.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, longtime viewers of us are just like, wow, she's back? What the heck?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'll be back.
All right, moving on up to 1982, IMF, the International Monetary Fund, lent Mexico $3.8 billion due to a threatened bankruptcy. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, well, you don't want Mexico to go bankrupt.
Yeah, well, maybe, if they
Too big to fail.
Well, back in the day, because this is why we have ruins. Like, if you look in all over the world, there's ruins.
Yeah.
Okay?
Different societies, they disappear.
Yeah, well, maybe we should, stop, feeding things. If it can't stand up on its own two legs, let it die. Darwinism, natural selection. If Mexico's under threat of being bankrupt, maybe you should let them go so they can figure it out so they can not go bankrupt next time. You're only allowing them to be reliant on something outside of themselves. Stop it. If we are to survive, we cannot survive by being spoon-fed. So, 1983, U.S. federal government shut down. Well, that happens so many times.
Yeah.
83 as well, Bill Gates introduced Windows 1.0.
Oh,
right. Yeah,
how about
Windows.
that?
Yeah. 1984, the Miami Hurricanes blew a 31-0 lead in the third quarter loss to MD, Maryland, I think, 42-40. Wow. They had a 31-0 lead, and then they lost 42-40.
Not good.
Stupid. 85, NHL Philadelphia Flyers goaltender Pelle Lindbergh smashed his Porsche into a retaining wall in Somerdale, New Jersey, after a team party, suffering mortal injuries with 2 passengers critically hurt. His blood alcohol level was over twice the legal limit, and his family had him removed from life support when they arrived from Sweden. Yeah, well, that's a hard decision, but that's stupid. Absolutely stupid. These kids, they make it big, they get fat heads, they think they're invincible, and then they do something like this. Like there needs to be a mandates where if you're an athlete, you have to have a life coach to keep you in line.
Well, I think every kid at 20 thinks they're invincible, or at least 18, 17, 16.
Well, isn't Kobe Bryant the youngest person ever to enter NBA, at what, 20? Or was it 18 or 16 or whatever?
Well, he had to wait till he turned 18 to sign the contract.
Yeah. But
So, because if not, his parents would have had to decide. They said, no, let's wait a couple months because the season hadn't started.
yeah,
Because this is after he is drafted.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if he's the youngest, but got to be right there.
He was the youngest, I think.
I think pretty sure he is.
So, in 1986, Bangladeshi constitution was restored. All right.
Good.
Good, yeah. 88, China confirmed an earthquake death toll will rise above current 938. Okay. 1988, New York's MTA, their metro, the Metro Transit Authority or something, announced it may replace tokens with credit card type passes, which they did eventually. So
Pretty well have to.
So yeah. 1989, Bulgarian Communist Party President Todor Zhikov, at the age of 78, resigned. However, we have a discrepancy because from our other source, we have longtime Bulgarian leader Todor Zhivkov, the same guy here, was removed from office and replaced by Peter Malendown.
Ah.
So, did he resign or was he removed? So
That is a big difference.
yeah. 1989, Germans began demolishing the Berlin Wall. This
That's
is when
like
it started.
asking, did President Biden resign from being reelected, or did he get removed? He resigned, but did he get removed?
Oh, he's clearly got cooed. That
So-
was clearly a coup.
So it's one of those
You know,
deals.
he-
It's an important
He
distinction.
obviously got cooed because, they had to make the money work and they couldn't have it with bumbling Biddy Bo Biden, So they had to go with the coconut tree. Yeah, so, the same old playbook. I was raised in a middle class family. 89, we got that one. 89 as well. Word Perfect 5.1 was shipped. I don't know what the heck that is. Sounds like
someone from Facebook or something.
Facebook. No.
Not Facebook. Yeah. What?
Facebook. Microsoft. Probably.
Okay.
Microsoft Word.
Okay, Word.
Like,
Microsoft
word processing
Yeah,
application.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it's not Microsoft Word, but it was a software program for, kind of like how I have Open Office. It's like Microsoft Word, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, believe it or not, you actually now have to pay a subscription fee to use Microsoft Word.
Really?
Yeah. And, Microsoft Office,
it's all about money.
QuickBooks and all that stuff. Well, I mean, back,
a monthly deal for that?
A monthly, yeah. Like, you remember when we used to...
you don't own it, you're leasing it or something?
Yeah, exactly. Like, even if we went out and bought the disc, because remember back in the day you can go to, Best Buy or whatever and, buy the disc, and then it's yours. You buy the disc, but you happen to have an account, and you have to pay for the account to use it.
That'll give you the disc.
Well, I just use Open Office. I downloaded it. It's free. It does the exact same job. I don't need any crazy bells and whistles. I get what I want done, and I don't spend a damn dime for it. So all these greedy ass companies, they're really not figuring things out here. 1990, John Hughes' film Home Alone, directed by Chris Columbus and starring Macaulay Culkin, premiered in Chicago.
Boy, that was 90s. That's 34 years ago.
1990. Yeah, 34 years ago on this date.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
34 years ago. I am old. Oh my God.
Here, you want to do it again?
Oh,
the aftershave.
Yeah.
They call this soothing? 1991, got that one. Bernie Kosner ended NFL record of 308 passes without an interception. That sounds impressive.
Yeah.
We also have
Kosner, okay.
Yeah, Bernie Kosner. So Kosner. Kosar. There's not an N in there. What the hell am I saying? Browns set a club record for largest lead blown. A lead was 23-0 for the Philadelphia 32-30.
That's
so here we go,
good.
another blown lead there.
Nothing's safe.
Martina
Navratilova.
Thank you. Tied with Chris Everett with 157 pro tennis tournament wins. All right.
She went on to surpass her.
Well, of course, now they're tied, and unless she retires immediately, then inevitably she's going to win something. And 91 as well. A lot of stuff happening on this date. 91. Marty Glickman broadcasted his 1,000th football game.
Don't know who he is.
Neither do
I.
I.
Someone from another football team.
But
I didn't listen to.
Broadcasting 1,000 games, that's nothing to
That's
sneeze
a lot.
at. Yeah.
Especially when they're only playing what? I don't know how many games.
I don't have a clue. 91 as well. South Africa played its first international cricket match since 1970, a one-day match against India. Oh, they had a a 21-year dry spell, and for whatever reason, it decided to moisten up. I don't know why. You know, like they were away from it. You know, cricket. 95 in Nigeria, playwright and environmental activist Ken Saro-Wiwa, along with 8 others from the movement for the survival of the Ogoni people, the Mossop, were hanged by government forces. Yeah, man. Like they're advocating for the survival of people, and they themselves get killed. Yeah. Like just absolute. This is when the entire nation needs to rise up against their oppressive regime. Like stand up for yourself, because if you won't stand up for your neighbor might not be around to stand up when it's your turn. True.
True.
1997, WorldCom and MCI Communications announced a $37 billion U.S. Dollar merger, the largest merger in U.S. history at the time.
Yeah, wow. 97, come on.
Yeah. 98, Star Trek Insurrection film, directed by Jonathan Frakes and starring Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes, premiered. All right.
Never saw it.
Neither have I, but I've heard of it. 1999, World Anti-Doping Agency was formed in Lausanne. I don't know. So, Anti-Doping Agency. Okay.
So I think that's for sports.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense then. 2002, the Veterans Day weekend tornado outbreak occurred, in which a tornado outbreak stretching from northern Ohio to the Gulf Coast. Holy crap!
Wow.
Becoming one of the largest outbreaks recorded in November. Huge. Ooh. That's a lot of tornadoes there.
Yeah.
2006, the National Museum of the Marine Corps in Quantico, Virginia, was opened and dedicated by U.S. President George W. Bush, who announced that Marine Corporal Jacob Dunham will posthumously receive the Medal of Honor. That's why I wasn't making fun of his name, because he's dead. But rest in peace, Semper Fi, hoorah, and may you serve God in the next life. But yeah, he got his Medal of Honor, or at least he was promised his Medal of Honor as of this statement. So I wonder if he did indeed get it.
I hope so.
Yeah, I wouldn't put my legs up on that.
Okay, you're right.
2007, Porque no te callas, translated to "Why don't you shut up?" incident between Juan Carlos I of Spain and Venezuela's President Hugo Chavez at Ibero-American Summit in Santiago. So basically, the president of Spain said to the president of Venezuela, "Why don't you shut up?"
Yeah.
Like, that is not good bedside manner, but at the same time, he's talking to Hugo Chavez was not a good guy, right? He was a freaking dictator.
Yeah.
So
ran his country into the ground.
Yeah. 2008, over 5 months after landed on Mars, NASA declared the Phoenix mission concluded after communications with the lander were lost. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that is, but it was a huge success.
Yeah. And what the hell are you doing?
Getting my legs up.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Continue on.
Okay. And we've spoken about this a couple of times, on various shows here, but I want to restate. I think it's Voyager 1 or 2. It's one of the Voyagers. We have reestablished communications with it. So
yeah.
And if I'm correct, we had actually sent out a signal telling it to turn around and ping us back, and it eventually got it and did that.
Yes.
That is wild. I could not imagine.
Crazy.
Like,
absolutely crazy.
2009, ships of the South and North Korean navies skirmished off Dangshan Island in the Yellow Sea. While they are still technically, well, not even technically, they are still at a state of war, but it hasn't gotten back into being hot. Well, it's still a hot war, but they're in a ceasefire.
Yeah.
And because they're our allies and because of, things that we've signed, we are also in an active state of war with North Korea. We have been, since it started in 1950, 1951. Yeah. And the real crazy thing that people don't read now, I want to reiterate, I am not a Trump supporter, but people don't understand the significance that Donald Trump impromptu went over the border.
Yeah.
North Korea did not just have the leader of an opposing nation on their land that they were at war with. They had the leader of the free world, the most powerful person on the planet that they were actively at war with, in their custody, and they did nothing.
Well, that's
that
a bit
is
of an overstate, but
well,
technically you're right.
That is, people do not understand that is beyond comprehension amazing. 2012, the final U.S. presidential election results were declared after Barack Hussein Obama won Florida to defeat Mitt Romney 332 to 206 in electoral college votes. Yeah, whatever. Obama. Piece of crap. 2013, Spaniard Marc Marquez won the 2013 MotoGP World Championship to become its youngest ever winner at 20. Man, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah. 20 years old, yeah.
2014, The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, directed by Francis Lawrence and starring Jennifer Lawrence and Josh Hutcherson, premiered in London.
That was a good movie.
I have not seen any of those.
First one. Anyway, the rest of them,
I have not seen any of them. 2014, Uptown Funk, Gonna Give It To Ya, Don't Believe You, Just Watch. Single released by Bruno Mars, Billboard Song of the Year 2015, Grammy Record of the Year, Grammy Song of the Year 2016. Yeah, that song, really made it. So,
yeah.
Man, I'm pretty sure even you've heard it. So,
not sure.
I would play it, but I don't want to breach any copyright thing. So, 2017, Louis C.K. admitted to admitted these stories of sexual misconduct about him are true. I believe, they were not
hammered for something like that.
Well,
so
that was during
17,
that was
to be the time.
That was during the whole Me Too movement, and then all of these liars started coming out of the woodwork and latching onto it, so that way they can, get back at people. That was around the same time as that, that one story you have about that guy in college who got ruined for life on a false accusation and all that stuff. And it's really a shame because all the real victims are just now getting overshadowed. It just devalues the whole thing, and all these evil, monstrous females just coming out of the woodwork with their vendettas and everything. Louis C.K. knew that he was going to lose, so he admitted to false allegations. I believe he's innocent. I believe Bill Cosby is innocent.
Wow.
But Louis C.K. just admitted it to avoid the media circus and just skip all the bullshit and just go to...
Still ruined his career.
Yeah, well, his career was going to get ruined anyway. He just didn't want to deal with all the crap. So he was just like, fine, fuck it, I did it, whatever. Can we move on? So... 2019, President of Bolivia, Evo Morales, and several of his government resigned after 19 days of civil protests and a recommendation from the military amid widespread protests after national election considered irregular and manipulated. And this guy really needs to get a better barber because his hair, what
looks
is he?
Like he's had a stroke. Is what I see.
Well, what does he look like?
One of the Beatles. I don't know.
Works.
What?
Well, let me mute my mic here. He's literally a dickhead.
So glad you muted.
Well, anyone who has a disgusting brain like mine, look at the way his hair is shaped on his head.
I don't care. Move on.
He looks like a dickhead, and he was one. What can I say? 2019, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani announced the discovery of a new oil field with an estimated 53 million barrels of oil in the Khuzestan province. All right, so more oil. Oh, cool. 2020, before I continue, I think I got to restart the music. Yeah, I'll just put it back here and such. And is it playing? Yes, it is. Good. 2020, a ceasefire signed between Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Russia, ending military conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh region after over a month of fighting. This ended the Nagorno-Karabakh war, but prompted protests in Armenia. So, can't please everybody, unfortunately. But at least there's a ceasefire. So, yeah.
I don't know the ins and outs of it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
If the protest was valid or what. I have no opinion.
2020, word of the year was lockdown, according to Collins English Dictionary. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. During a pandemic, you know?
Yeah.
2021, China and the U.S. announced plans to work together on cutting greenhouse gas emissions at the COP26 summit, and I'm pretty sure that was immediately
China's
thrown.
Do that.
Yeah. You know,
Locally, of course, the stupid Americans to do.
You know,
basically what they're after.
There is a higher chance of me voting Democrat than the Chinese actually following that. So, and I ain't voting Democrat. 2021, New Zealand filmmaker Peter Jackson sold Weta Digital's technology division to video games company Unity for $1.6 billion US. Wow.
Wow, he came out pretty good.
Yeah.
Obviously not all for him. There's a lot of people involved.
Yep, Peter Jackson. Oh, big name. 2022, Afghanistan's ruling Taliban banned women from using public parks and fun fairs. Once again, as I was ranting and raging about earlier on in the show, all these third-wave feminists going around, oh my God, I have no rights. Go to Afghanistan and see how much rights you have over there. Shut the up. You know? Like, 2022, largest art auction in history belonging to late Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen achieved sales of $1.5 billion to be donated to charity, and that's how they deduct taxes and launder money. You know? Because they write all that off as tax exempt, and they don't actually pay their fair share in taxes. They just write it off. They just pass it.
I didn't realize Paul Allen had passed away.
Well, I don't care. Like, screw these people. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I've heard of that.
Yeah.
So, 2022 or 2023, just last year, Colombia began a campaign to sterilize as invasive hippos, the escaped ex-pets of drug cartel head Pablo Escobar. Ooh. So, once again, going to our... so it wasn't to kill them, but, right here, here's a photo of Pablo Escobar with his hippos. So, their campaign wasn't to kill them, but it was to sterilize them. But, they had broken out, and,
right.
Colombia has a bunch of wild hippos,
they don't need those.
Yeah. We also have record for the most expensive U.S. stamp made when a 1918 inverted Jenny sold for $2 million, or 1.63 million pounds, at auction in New York. And this is another money laundering scheme. The arts, buying random crap. Like 2023 as well. The Beatles single Now and Then hit #1 in the British singles chart, a record 54 years after their last #1 single.
That's the one that was composed together.
Yes. Well, they didn't have the technology until recently to separate his voice from the piano.
Yeah.
So,
and then put it back together with the rest of them.
Yeah, but what
it's
year?
Pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, mind blowing, and. Not really history, but more future predictions. On this date in 2084...
84? How do we get back to 84?
2084.
Oh!
In the future.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so 60 years from now.
Okay.
It will be the next transit of Earth as seen from Mars. So if Elon Musk gets what he wants, and there's people on Mars, on this date, November 10th, 2084, which would be interesting if anybody's even watching this show, at that time, in which, hi, hello from the past, they can go out and they can see the transit of Earth is like going, across the sun.
Yeah.
So, as seen from Mars.
Okay.
So, yeah. So.
I don't think I'm going to be around for it.
I probably won't either, but we'll see.
Most likely not.
We'll see.
You never know.
But if this video's out there, if somebody's watching it, leave a like, subscribe. There won't be any new videos, but or there might be on Omni Coalition. We'll see. But Xander sure will be over. Anyway, that'll be it for the show today. Once again, please check the underbar in the description below for any links that you may find interesting, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of history has and continues to be made on a daily basis, and we can only bring you a portion. Check our sources for more. For your dose of Fast Events Daily, we stream every day, or try to, at 11 in the morning Pacific Time, which is 12 noon Mountain, 1 Central, and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. We do have other shows, from history to news, movie reactions and reviews, gamings, videos and memes, Omni Kitchen, and everything else in between on Talk Show, which, by the way, after the show, Alice, I'd like to do Talk Show today, but we'll talk about that after the show. So, once again, check the underbar. For all of you and all of us, I am Xander.
Golden Loon.
And Alice went back to muting her mic, but we have Alice in the live studio audience. And of course, you viewer are you, and until you catch us next time, whenever that is, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and